Obviously, I just read this gospel reading, and as you were listening to it, were you asking yourself the question, do we have to live everything that the gospel reading suggests? And the answer to that question is yes. That's a very challenging gospel reading. We're going to take a pretty in-depth look at it here in a moment. But this gospel reading reminds me of the Amish school tragedy. You might remember this. It occurred back on October 2nd, 2006. A fellow by the name of Carl Roberts, a lone shooter, entered the West Nichols Mine School in Lancaster County. He lined up 10 girls, he shot at 8, killed 5, and then took his own life. Now it's here that this particular tragedy takes on a gospel twist. The Amish families of the victims quickly forgave Mr. Roberts. The Amish families of the victims went that very day to the home of Mr. Roberts' widow because she now lost her son, to console her and support her. And 30 Amish families went to the funeral of this lone gunman, Mr. Roberts. Absolutely incredible. You know, those particular Amish families, they possess the incredible gift of being able to forgive and to let go. Not to forgive and forget. Because forgetting is always a very difficult thing to do. Since we have human minds that like to think all the time, we're always going to remember. So they possess the quality of being able to forgive and just let go, which precludes the possibility of protraction and retaliation. So tonight we're going to do something a little different. They say when you say something, you own it. If you say something long enough, you begin to believe it. Now this gospel reading is one that we should listen to often, read often, and live always. So what we're going to do tonight, because this is one powerful gospel reading, and through the entire gospel, it's kind of self-explanatory. Jesus tells us exactly how he wants us to live our lives. And it gets very difficult and very challenging. So we're going to put the gospel reading up on the wall and read it together. So you ready? You're sitting up straight? Okay, so let's read this thing together. This comes out of the 5th chapter of Matthew, verses 38 to 48. Together, let's read. Jesus said to his disciples, "You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, offer no resistance to the one who is evil. When someone strikes you on your right cheek, turn the other one as well. If anyone wants to go to law with you over your tunic, hand him your cloak as well. Should anyone press you into service for 1 mile, go for 2 miles. Give to the one who asks of you, and do not turn your back on the one who wants to borrow. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your heavenly Father. For he makes his sun rise from the bad and the good, and causes rain to fall on the just and the unjust. If you love those who love you, what recompense will you have? Do not the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet your brothers only, what is unusual about that? Do not the pagans do the same? So be perfect, just as your heavenly Father is perfect. That is an incredible gospel reading. Just to do everything that gospel reading suggests would be quite a challenge. It reminds me of this professor of philosophy that walked into this college classroom one day. And he's holding this 8-ounce glass of water. And he looked at the students and he holds out the 8-ounce glass of water. He says, students, how much does this 8-ounce glass of water weigh? Now, no student wanted to raise their hand. It was philosophy, and typically in philosophy, what you see isn't really what the case turns out to be. So no one wanted to answer him. So he's standing there, he's holding this 8-ounce glass of water, and he repeats the question, how much does this 8-ounce glass of water weigh? Still no answer. And he keeps standing there, and then he gave the students the answer. And he said, how much does this 8-ounce glass of water weigh? It all depends how long you hold it. He said, if I stand there and hold this 8-ounce glass of water for 10 seconds, it weighs only 8 ounces. But if I try to hold this 8-ounce glass of water straight out with my hand for 1 hour, it becomes unbearable. And if I try to hold this 8-ounce glass of water in my hand straight out for 5 hours, it becomes impossible. It's something to think about. That's the challenge in today's gospel reading. How much does hatred weigh? How much does anger in your heart weigh? How much is the inability to forgive weigh? How much is the inability to let go weigh? And the answer to every one of those questions is, it just depends how long you hold it. If you hold hatred for many, many years, it really just begins to corrode your happiness. If you hold on to anger, you hold on to the inability to let go, and you hold on to the inability to forgive, it just begins to corrode and destroy in many times your life. It takes a smile off your face. That's a powerful gospel reading. And the truth of the matter is, when we read something and we say it out loud, we own it. That's why we read that gospel reading tonight. Because what Jesus Christ is saying is, despite the fact those axioms are going to be very difficult for you to live, that's what I'm going to ask you to do. Not just read chapter 5 of Matthew, verse 38 and 48, and then turn to the next page and say you read that much of the gospel. But I want you to read chapter 5 of Matthew 38 to 48, and then look at it and read it again and say to yourself, this is what I have to live. It's not going to be easy for any one of us. How much is that glass of water weigh? Depends how long you hold it. And if you've been holding anger and hatred in your heart for some time, I think that's true. How much does anger weigh? How much is hatred weigh? How much is the inability to forgive weigh? And how much is the inability to let go weigh? And the truth and the answer is this. It just depends how long you're willing to hold it. Dictates the weight of anger and hatred and the inability to forgive and the inability to let go.